Da-da-da, we're going
This is
to
the
live stream. Here it goes. All right, we're live on Facebook. Hi, everybody. Hang on just one moment because we are going now to Zoom. There we go. Are we here? Yay. Okay, just a second.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy reporting live from my little cabin in the woods, Murphy's Law. And I'm so excited tonight because this is a dear friend, an author friend who we go way back. This is Caroline Leavitt. She's reporting in from New York City. We love her. We love her books. I personally love her publisher, Algonquin, because I used to be a book sales representative for Algonquin, and they do fabulous books and they really support their authors. So welcome, Carolyn. Thank you. Before we start, I'm going to quickly just introduce everybody that's here. We've got Mandy Haynes over to my left, who's my executive director. We have Suzanne Kamada, who is from Japan. She's in Japan. We have Grace Salmon, who's another one of our authors. We have Kathy Ramsberger, who on this side is one of our authors, and Ruthie Landis is from Chicago. So, and there may be more jumping on board, but tonight I know how busy you are because Carolyn partnered with Jenna Blum, and they have the blog A Mighty Blaze. And if you don't know what it is, I've been on the show. It's fantastic. They partner authors and then they ask them to recommend a bookstore. And so they interview you and your favorite independent bookstore. And I picked Main Street Reads owned by my Pulpwood queen and friend Sherry Staunch. So it was a wonderful experience. What you guys are doing to help independent bookstores and to help authors. I think you booked like almost a year in advance for this program, don't you, Carolyn?
Yeah, we're pretty book solid, but that's, we have 38 people working for us and they're all volunteers. Nobody's getting any money from this. It's just sort of a passion project that we're doing.
It's a big book love, man. It's awesome.
Well, it's what you do. It's what you do.
Huh?
It's partnership to what you do.
Well, I'm trying to help first-time first book authors get discovered in a big way. And also I've learned, I'm going into my 21st year doing this, and I've learned that a lot of authors can be famous in New York or San Francisco or, wherever you are, whatever part of the country, but people in the Midwest or the Pacific Northwest may not. So I feel like the Pulpwood Queens, if we all hold hands, we're the great connector. We're building bridges.
Right.
And we're putting all of our 800 book club chapters and our members and chapters around the world, we're bringing them all together. That's why we started this online book club, so until we can get back together again in person. But we'll also always incorporate the virtual part because we're bringing in people like Suzanne from Japan. At the book club convention last year, we had authors from France, Spain, Canada, Malta.
That's wonderful.
So we're excited that you're here, and now we've got to talk about your book. Your book is amazing. All your books have been amazing. I mean, Pictures of You won our book of the year, you were touring for it, and you will be up for book of the year again this year as being one of our 12 books of the year. We've got 12 authors that we'll be voting on, but this is a fantastic story. And you know what I love about it the most? It's perfect for book club discussion because there's a dilemma. Dilemma between a couple. And whether you love somebody through sickness and health, whether whatever life's challenges are, and I now have the program. So I'm going to turn it to just speaker view, and I want you just to tell everybody an overview for people who have not read it about your book, Carolyn.
Okay. So this particular book is a lot about what happens when you're in a long-term relationship and you change and your partner doesn't, or vice versa. And I was particularly interested in people in their 40s because, when you're in your 20s, it's usually everything's all great and it's all fun. But when you're in your 40s, you start to realize, well, what do I really want to do with my life? And is this the right person for me? So I started with two characters: Simon, who was a one-time famous rock and roller, and now his star sort of faded, and Stella, his longtime partner, who wants him to grow the hell up. She wants him to buy their apartment. She's in her 40s. She doesn't have much more time if she wants to have a kid, and she wants to try and he doesn't. So they're arguing and they're drinking, and she's taking some cold meds and they take another pill. And in the morning he wakes up and she's in a coma. So he takes care of her for 3 months while she's in a coma, still waiting for his big chance. But when she wakes up, she's different. She's radically different. And she has this incredible new talent where she can paint the inner lives of her subject, where she couldn't draw at all before. And she becomes famous, giving her the fame that she's not so sure that she wants, but he's still desperate for. And to complicate things, there's Libby, Stella's best friend, and her doctor, who's starting to sort of fall for Simon. So I was really interested in that whole idea of change. Like, what do you owe someone that you love or that you loved for many, many years when that love changes? And what do you owe yourself when you change? How do you deal with becoming a totally different person? That whole idea just really, really interested me, and I wanted to write about it. So I did.
And I'm glad you did, because I'm telling you, there were a lot of things in there I could really relate to. I mean, I didn't have a husband who was a rock star, but I understood, because I started out in a marriage with, I'm just a mom to kids.
Right.
And I start the Pulpwood Queens, and it just becomes like, so it changed everything about our relationship, because then there was like this tension. So, and everybody knows the end of the story. There was a divorce. But your book,
a change, new change,
actually worked out the better for both of us. So that's the good news. So the thing about your book and the thing about the way you write is, I get so lost in the story. It's like I'm watching a movie. And it's amazing to me that it's so real. I see these characters. And so I guess there's a lot of authors here today. So how do you develop those believable characters? What is it? Do you have any secret tricks?
I wish I did, because then I could do it more easily in my next books. What I do a lot of character work. I have you can't see it because it's behind me, but I have a whole file cabinet that's filled with photographs of what I think my characters look like. And I get them from Humans of New York. I don't go for models or anything like that. I just find ordinary people who look some sort of emotional experience. I have my main characters like this up on my wall, and I have this guy looking very contemplative, but because then I can always look at them and they become more real to me. I do a lot of like writing and rewriting, and I think about them, and the more I think about them and the more I try to push them into actions, the more I come to know them. The thing about this particular book was, with Stella, I wanted her to be as much opposite me as possible. I actually had been in a coma 25 years ago after the birth of my son, and they gave me memory blockers. I mean, who knew there was such a thing? They gave me memory blockers because they figured I was dying and they didn't want me to remember all this stuff. But of course I did survive. And the problem was that with that is, when I finally got out of the hospital, and like another 4 months, my body felt okay. My body went back to its normal way. But because I couldn't remember the experience, I had all these post-stress traumatic triggers. I'd walk into a grocery store and I'd smell something and I'd start to break out into a cold sweat. And Jeff, my husband, would say, that's the same smell that was in the hospital when, when you wanted soup. And I guess in the supermarket, they were making soup samples. Colors would set me off. If I saw somebody with like a brown and yellow and white striped shirt, again, total panic, because that was the hospital curtains. So I went to a therapist and I said, I think I have post-traumatic shock syndrome. And she said, yeah, I think you do. Why don't you write about it? Because you're a writer. So I wrote this book, not With or Without You, but another book. And it was about somebody just like me. A woman goes into a coma after having a baby, and it didn't make me feel better. And these triggers kept going and going and going. So 5 years ago, Jeff, my husband, had to go to Norway on some, he's a journalist on some press thing. And I was alone here by myself. And I was terrified to go to sleep, because every time I thought of going to sleep, I thought, coma, what if I don't wake up? Like, I didn't sleep. I stayed up all night. I watched every Jennifer Aniston movie ever made. If it was and I went to another therapist and said, look, this is what's going on. And she said, you know what? You wrote the wrong book. You don't want to write a book about somebody just like you. You want to write a book about someone completely different from you. So I spent a lot of time thinking about what that experience was like for me to make it completely different for Stella. So unlike me, Stella remembers everything in her coma, everything before the coma, everything after. And unlike me, she emerges with this extraordinary talent. And it was actually the most pleasant book I ever wrote for myself, because I just felt so full of joy. I was just so happy, and I felt that Stella was sort of guiding me through. And most of the triggers are gone now. And I think it's because of her. I think she's totally alive.
And do you see writing as a form of therapy?
Yeah.
Because writing that story out, probably because it wasn't you, it was through somebody else. I've noticed that people that have had a lot of trauma in their lives always are the first ones to help others that are in trouble.
Yes.
So maybe you writing that out, I've said everybody should write a book, because then you find out not only who you are, what you believe in.
Yes. Exactly. You can really tunnel down into your deepest feelings. And also, if you go down to your darkest feeling or the things that scare you, there's always going to be a million people out in the world who will say, oh my God, me too. I feel like that. Thank you for writing that, because I can't just yet. But I'm so appreciative that you did. And I think that's what it's really all about, like telling your truth, which will become universal to other people reading your stuff.
It's so true. And I think I've forgotten, what was your very first book? Because I came into you not at the very beginning, but as you were
going. Right. Oh, I wrote this book in my 20s that was called Meeting Rosie Halfway. And it was about my relationship with my older sister growing up in Boston in the late 60s, early 70s. And I had never expected anything to happen with it. And to my surprise, it won first prize in a Red Book magazine, had a contest at that time, a young writers contest. And I won first prize. And all of a sudden there were all these agents around me saying, well, you have to write a novel. And I said, I don't know how to write a novel. And they said, well, we're selling this story as a novel, so you better learn. And it was this incredible experience. And what was so incredible about it is I thought it was always going to be that way. And those of you who are writers out there, you know that that's not what happens. That's just not what happens. The first book did spectacular. I was a star. I had fame at a young age. Then the second book was sort of, and then books 3 to, I would say, 8, they got published, but they did not do well. Nobody knew who I was. The reviews I got were really good reviews, but I had no sales at all. Nobody knew who I was. My 9th book, which was the first one I did with Kathy, Pictures of You, was actually rejected by my then publisher. Yeah, which Kathy, you will love this. It was like,
I love that book.
It was like, it was one of the big 5 publishers. They called me up and they said, we're really sorry, we can't, even though we bought this book, we can't publish it. It's just not special. And I said, well, how can I make it special? And they said, we don't know. We just don't think you can. And I said, well, can I show you something else? And they said, no, best of luck, goodbye. So of course I burst into tears thinking, well, now what am I going to do with my life? Because if I can't write, there's nothing else I really know how to do that I can do well or that I want to do. So I was crying to all my friends. This is again why knowing a lot of writers, having a lot of friends, especially women who really support you, is so important.
Yeah.
Called all my friends, and one of them said, you know what, I can help you. I have this new editor, Algonquin. I'm going to talk to her about you. And she did. And the editor called me and she liked the book. And being honest, I said to her, this is my 9th book and I don't sell books. And she did this remarkable thing where she laughed and she said, oh, honey, you will now. So they bought that book for not a lot of money, but I didn't care. I was thrilled. And they got it into 7 printings before it even came out. It hit the New York Times bestseller list its 2nd week out. But the best thing about it was that, all of a sudden, all these people were calling me, and people who hadn't wanted to talk to me before. But the best thing about it is it made me really realize that, you know what? Fame isn't what you think it is, and it's not that important. What's really important is just doing the work and, loving the work. And it's been much better because now I think that, okay, writing careers are like this, they might go down, they might go up, and it doesn't matter. I almost think like, well, it's not your business to think about that. Your business is just to think about the book, and the public will either respond or they won't respond. And so what? Maybe even if there's one person who's impacted by your book, well, that's enough. That's great.
Well, I know Lisa Wingate, it took her 30th book.
Oh my God.
30th before she made the New York Times. And then I think Before We Were Yours has now sold over 2 million copies. And it's a lot of it isn't the fact that you're not a great writer if you don't have a great story.
No, it's not.
It's just being in the right place at the right time. And you have to realize that one person reads your book and your whole future sometimes can rely upon that person. So that's what I think about every time somebody sends me a book. I never give a bad review.
I don't either.
The only reviews I give are 5 diamonds in the Pulpwood Queen Tiara, right, because I picked you. And so when you won, it was just like the book of the year for the Pulpwood Queens. I was so excited for you because it just goes to show you that if you follow your passion, you put in the work, and you have. But you've had so many other things that have happened to you that are just tremendous. I mean, the fact that you're writing now for Psychology Today. I mean, you're still doing that column, aren't you?
Yeah, part of that was also, it's the whole feeling of like when a lot of writers I know, myself included, start out very shy and introspective. And then I started to realize that, you can make your own things happen if you want, not by trying to be what other people want you to be, but just sort of doing what you want. And I just figured, well, maybe I'll write something about my sister and maybe they'll publish it and maybe they won't. And if they won't, it's not a big deal because I needed to write it. And they wanted it. And then they said, well, we'd like you to write more. And I thought, well, that's great. I think the main thing is always show gratitude for whatever happens, always help others, always be kind. And, just always remember that there's a lot of noise going on around you with, and it's true what you said, Kathy, that a lot of times books, it depends on who you know, what your timing is. There's a million things that can come into play. And it doesn't mean that you're not a talented writer. It just means that the timing was weird. And
well, so many authors are introverted and they're writers and they're not comfortable marketing. I often think about Harper Lee. If her book came out today, if her book came out today, knowing the subject matter, would it have gotten picked up, or Margaret Mitchell's?
Right, that's right.
I mean, it's hard to say. And I have the belief that if you just do the best you can, work as hard as you can, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it doesn't, then you're doing what you love. I mean, you're
Yep.
doing what you love as long as you can pay the bills. It's been a little tricky during COVID.
Yep. I have to say, Kathy, that you were really instrumental. You were really instrumental because the first time I met you, you were this force. I went to the first Pulpwood and I was a little nervous. Okay, I was a lot nervous. And there was Kathy, and you were this force and this great outfit and this hair. And as I got to know you, I realized that there was this tender heart inside of you and this tender soul. And it made me think, you know what? You can be quiet and you can be introverted, but you can also like show who you really are to other people. And I always realize that, you know what, some people are going to like you and they're going to respond to you, and that's great. Other people are not going to like you, and in fact they're going to like, some people might think you're terrible or whatever, but that's more on them than on you. And I always remembered that, Kathy, and I sort of internalized that way of being, because I thought it was such a great thing that you do. So thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you. But I still have heart palpitations about the time that you got stuck in Longview, Texas. This is a terrible story, but it's really hard to get to our convention. So having it virtual has made it really nice. But can you just tell a little bit about what happened?
You know what, that actually was another story about, like women helping women. So I'm on this little flight to this airport in East Texas. And when we get there, it's dead of night. And I'm used to airports that are like teeming with cabs and limos and people, and nobody was around.
There's nobody.
I got there and I was looking around and everybody's leaving, and there was like no stores. The whole airport was as big as my office. And luckily, thank goodness, Nicole Wagoner, another Pulpwood queen, was she was there, and she said, "Oh, are you going to Kathy's?" And I said, "Oh, thank goodness, there's another person here." And she said, "Well, don't worry, because I rented a car at Avis, and I'm going to call them right now." So she called Avis, and we could hear the phone ringing. And then we looked, and the Avis store was all boarded up. Nobody was there. So we walked. So the other people in the airport were leaving, and they said, "Well, we'll leave it open for you. You can just stay here all night if you want." And I was getting really nervous. So I had a phone and I started calling cab companies, and they said, "No, we're not coming. We're not coming. We're not coming." Finally, I called a limo company, and the guy said, "I really don't want to come." And I said, "I'll pay you whatever you want." And there was silence, and he said, "Well, how about $120? And I looked at Nicole, and she said, "Say yes." So we said yes. And he came up. It took him an hour to get there. Then we got back and everything was fine. But it was, it goes to show you two things. Like when I think about it now, it was really fun. And it bonded, Nicole and I bonded for life over that incident. So it sort of shows you like what women power can do.
It's true. I had the same thing happen up in I was in Portland, and I missed the bus that was supposed to go, and then another one wasn't going to go for hours.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden I see this other girl sitting over there, and she looks at me, and I go, "You wouldn't by any chance be going to Bellingham, Washington?" She goes, "Are you an author too?" And then it ended up, we knew each other, and it was Mary Ann Henry. And we bonded for life because we waited like 4 hours. We totally missed the Friday night book event. But you know what?
It doesn't matter.
The journey too.
Yeah.
That could be a great book.
Yeah.
Just that one night of being stuck with somebody that you wouldn't have ever known in a million years. I always look for, your stories are like that. They're stories that haven't been told before. And
Thank you.
well, and that's what I look for, because there's a million stories written about queens. I mean, I get every one of them. And then everybody tries to send me Southern stories, which is, I love it. But we're an international book club now. So we want books that are good to read. Your book would be perfect to read anywhere in the world. And I also think it'd be a great Netflix series. I mean, my gosh, how many things have been set in hospitals?
Oh,
List, and I say this every time, but I'm telling you, when I pick a book, I literally see it visually. Now, when you write, do you see it visually?
I do, and all the writers out there will know what I'm talking about. Is you sort of get in the zone, where it's really real and feels really feel. I mean, my husband could be yelling at me from downstairs, "The house is on fire," and I won't hear it because I'll be locked in this world. And that's sort of the thing that I love best. It's something that I really need to do. I mean, I was just thinking, like, I've been really sort of out of sorts this week and cranky. And I kept thinking this morning, why am I like this? And then I realized it's because I hadn't written. I just was too busy to write. So I sat down and I wrote a few pages, and now I feel, oh, I needed to do that.
It's like breathing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really awesome. So is this your office we're in right now? I see all the books.
This is my office. This is like,
Yay.
we have a 3-story row house, and that's my trampoline over there that I bounce on.
I've seen it before.
There's I don't know if you can see. Up there you can see like the paintings. That's the painting
The original?
the artist did of my book, and I asked him if I could have it, and he gave it to me. So it's just a small room. It has a couch, and so you can work on the couch too. And it's just nice to have a room that you work in. And at the end of the day, you can say, you know what? I'm going downstairs and I'm going to be a human being. I'm not going to be writing anymore. So I really look forward to that.
I have to move. I have such a small house. I have to move around my house sometimes to get inspired, because I get into these routines where I see the same thing and I forget the day. I forget what day it is. Do you ever do that? I always have to ask Mandy, what is today? You've asked me. I mean, we do it all the time. But when you get in that zone, do you feel like when you come out of it, you've lost time?
Well, yes and no. I mean, one of the weird things that happened to me when I was in the coma is I had these dreams when I was in the coma of this. I call it the imaginary town. It was a town that it was always in the same town. I knew the town. I knew the people in the town. I knew the shopping. I knew everything. And when I came out of the coma, that was like the most startling thing to me, that I was not in that town anymore. And over the years, every once in a while, I will have a dream. It's much more vivid than a dream. And where I'm back in that imaginary town with the same people and all the same stuff. And it always feels really weird, because I think, what is going on here? Are these multi-universes or parallel lives? Or have I gone? And it feels sort of the same way it does when I'm writing. I'm able to go into the zone. I know that world, and I'm alive in that world. So I have no idea what it really is. And the funny thing is that Jodi Picoult heard about it, and she called me up because her new book is out now. It's a book about somebody who gets sick during COVID and has this whole other life. And then when she wakes up, she's in the hospital bed, and that life isn't there anymore. And so she wanted me to talk about it, but she also told me this other really bizarre story, true story. This man who had been hit by a car, and when he woke up from being hit by the car, he met this woman, he fell in love, they got married, they had 3 kids that he doted on. And then one day, like 10 years later, he started noticing things were weird in his room. It's like, where did that lamp come from? And he passed out. And when he woke up, he was back on that road, like 10 years ago when he had first had the accident. And, they patched him back up. But his problem now is that he misses his other life, with the 3 kids and the wife, and he doesn't know how to get back to it. So I don't know what this is. I mean, I have no idea how to explain this scientifically or non-scientifically. Wow. I just know that I hear the story and I believe it. I don't know how, but I believe it.
Oh, I believe it. I've had some really weird things happen to me, but I have a building in my don't have it very often, but it's the same building and I don't know where it is. It's like a church. And I'm walking outside of it around the property. And I think it's a church, but I'm not sure, but it's like in England or something. And I just go, where does this come from? Was it from one of my books I read or something? I don't know.
That's the way it feels when I'm writing sometimes too. If I'm really deep in the writing, and then all of a sudden I just like that's the world that I'm in. And who's to say? In researching the novel, I spoke to a lot of brain chemists and brain neurologists and stuff. And I was asking them, like, well, what's real and what isn't real and what can happen? And he said, look, we don't know yet. We really don't know.
I think the mind is a lot more complicated than we, and do you ever, no, this is telling on me. Do you ever have the feeling you wonder sometime if you're really alive?
Yes.
During COVID, because I've gone for 2 years without seeing people, and I just go, maybe I'm really not even here anymore. Oh, Ruthie's laughing at me, but I think about weird stuff like that, and I think, I pinch myself, I think the cats they look real, but I think, but what if it's just a dream?
But here's something else that'll really freak you out.
Oh no.
When I was talking to the scientist, he told me that actually, when you go down to atoms and quarks and way down to the quantum physics level, nothing touches. Nothing, the tiniest little bit, nothing is really touching. When we look at stuff, our brains just look at it as if it is a whole and it is touching. So, and the other thing is that there is no real evidence that what I see is what you see. You might see, I see you with this beautiful orange headband, but what I see as orange, you might be seeing as what I see as blue. There's no way to know that. And to me, that's just so the same thing. It's like you're looking at your cat. Is the cat alive? Is the cat even there? Your brain is telling you it is, but your brain doesn't see all of reality.
Well, I know my dad and I didn't see the same colors because he was colorblind. And we have huge arguments over, I'd say, well, that's a pretty gray car. And he goes, that car's not gray, that's green. And I'm going, and that dress thing, remember that dress thing? Some people
whether it's blue, that's exactly right. The thing that was on Facebook, do you see blue or white, or I forgot what the other colors were, but it's the same thing. You don't. Your brain sees things differently.
What's the most amazing thing you heard from these specialty people that worked with?
Well, I asked him like what could happen in terms of coma, and he said, well, in coma what happens is your brain is rewiring and unwiring. Sometimes it does it in a very bad way, so people, if they wake up, they're extremely damaged and they don't get back. But sometimes there are cases of a woman who woke up and she was speaking fluent Mandarin. She had no Chinese people in her background. She had never studied the language herself. She had never even thought of studying the language, but she was fluent. She quit her job. I don't remember what her job was, and she went to China, and she's now a translator. There was another thing of a guy who woke up, never played an instrument before, and he kept saying, I want a violin, please bring me a violin. And they said, but you don't play, you can't even carry a tune. And they brought him a violin, and he was virtuoso, just virtuoso. And I said, how can that be possible? And the scientist said, we don't know. We're trying to figure that out, but we don't know. It's sort of, I have this feeling that I think all these things, where people make fun of, like if you go to a psychic, you're being scammed, or somebody who's telling the future. But my feeling about that is they're just connecting to something that's out there already that we don't know about. I mean, I've spoken to quantum physicists who say, well, there really is no time. It's just a man-made construct so we can live in the world. And eventually time is going to slow and then stop. And I just said, what do you mean? Then what's going to happen? And he said, well, we don't know. We don't know. This is just what we believe. And it's almost like nothing is impossible. It's all science. Science is much more interesting than, a lot of other stuff that's out there, because science is wild, totally wild.
It really is. I could talk to you forever. I'm going to open this up to everybody. If you have any questions about the process of writing or the story or about
publishing.
this. Yeah. Anybody want to? I'm going to put us back on a galley so you can see everybody as they are here. There we go. Hi, everybody. Oh, some more people jumped on. All right. I'm so excited. Well, great to have you all here. And we've got another author joining us right now. So, okay. Hey, Julia. She's not quite connected yet. So,
Okay.
any questions for Carolyn about her book? And if you
Or
haven't
about anything, really.
yeah, if you haven't read it, you've got to, because it's really great. Kathy, go ahead.
Carolyn, I just wonder why your therapist said not to write about the opposite of what you experienced. Do you have any idea?
It's when I didn't at first, because usually that's the way I heal myself, by writing about stuff. But she just felt that I was getting mired in it, just because I was obsessing all day long about, what if I smell this? And am I having a panic attack? Or if I go to sleep, will I not wake up? And I was so, like, writing that first coma book was so serious. And I think she felt that I needed to break that cycle and do something happier. It was
Do you feel like it? Do you feel
that
like
you could change the
it did?
story?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it did? It was like changing a dream. It's like,
Yeah, it's like
lucid
changing a
dreaming.
dream. It really helped a lot, because it made me, writing the first coma book was really sad and made me really nervous. Writing this book was like, it was so weird to say that writing a book about a coma.
Because you're in
was happy.
control.
Yeah, exactly. It started to work. And I mean, she was throwing out ideas. I mean, she didn't necessarily know that it was going to work, but she thought, go do something else. And after I talked to the scientist, and he said, oh, well, people can come out of coma with, these wild talents, then I thought, oh, this is going to be so much fun to write and to think about. And it really was. It made me feel so much better. So much better.
It's an amazing book. And it makes me want to write the opposite of what's happened to me.
Do it.
I know this.
Do
Thank
it.
you.
Try it. Do it.
I will.
It can really open up your creativity too. And it's almost like giving you permission to be different. Like what you
Well,
might
I kind of done that in my short stories. I mean, because I've never killed anybody in real life. But in my short stories, it's so empowering.
You can do it in a short story. You can do it in your life too. Just think, like, if everybody has usual go-to attitudes. Like, when I first started doing book touring, my usual go-to attitude was worry, to think like, oh, I'm going to get on the stage, and what if I'm nervous? And I decided I had to change it. So I went on eBay, and I found a pair of $10 red short cowboy boots. And I thought, you know what? The woman who wears those boots is a real kick-ass. She's going to like walk on that stage, and everybody's going to want to know something about her. And I got those boots, and when I put them on, I felt like that. And I wore those boots for years and years and years until I didn't need them anymore. I don't need those boots anymore. But it's that way with everything. Find a talisman, or find like one thing that'll make you feel different than you are. And then act as if you are that way. And then after a while, you become that way. It's an amazing thing to do.
I think, Carolyn, you're just so much fun. I remember you showing up in that hot pink wig, and you had those cowboy boots on at Girlfriend Weekend. I know for sure. But I know that when I always was made fun of for the clothes I wore. And then one day I thought, I kind of always held back. And I thought, I'm 65 now. What am I holding back for? I'm going to wear whatever I want. Yeah. And I'm so happy. Yep. I wear scarves in my hair. I wear crazy earrings. I mean, I like to dress. I dress to make me feel better. It's kind of a way of doing that. I know you get earrings.
Yep, I have 75 earrings are my go-to. I have 75 pairs. I just came to realize that, you know what, I'm not going to look like everybody else, even if I try. And plus, I don't really want to try. So why don't you just like be who you are and wear the things that make you feel, good. Good.
Well, I have to say, I've been very jealous of some of the sweaters that you've made for people because they are so cool. I mean, they're so cool. And, I got this big body, but I just think that's fascinating that you do that too. I find that people that are artistic in one thing are artistic in another, and you have a really unique style. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really feel like, especially as I get older, that it's, what are you saving it for? That's my
Exactly.
motto. Like, what's to be afraid of? Like, what's the worst that can happen? And for me, I always thought, oh, the worst is having is people are going to yell at me or they're going to think I'm stupid. And the rejoinder to that is like, so what? Does it really impact you if someone says, oh, you're so stupid or you look stupid? No, you just say, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way and continue on.
It only matters how you feel,
how you feel.
Yeah. Well, we're learning. And I love your articles. I've read, every one I see. I love reading the story about the first one about you and your sister, which is a very interesting story about your family. And I think that when we write those stories, it kind of helps us get it out.
Yeah. You tell your truth. And also it's the same thing. There's always somebody else out there who has the same situation, who's been too afraid to say anything. And so when you claim your truth, then there's always people coming up saying, thank you. They haven't gotten there yet, but they will get there yet. There's like nothing that anybody should ever be ashamed of. Because usually when you're ashamed, it's because somebody else has made you ashamed. And
well, that's a good quote right there.
It's true though, right? It's true.
Any other questions from any of you guys or like to make any comments about anything?
I'll make a comment.
Yeah.
This is the greatest conversation I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you.
I am fascinated in what you're talking about, the possibility of a parallel reality. I was thinking just this morning, and I've thought this repeatedly throughout the years, that it seems to me that there probably really is a parallel reality.
I think so.
And it's interesting. And I was writing just this morning which one is real.
Well, that's the whole thing.
And what if they're both equally real? And it's a question of the ability to slip in and out of different dimensions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fascinating subject. And it's one that I sense, but I'm just learning how to find the language to articulate it without sounding crazy.
Well, I always when I talk about it a lot, and I always couch it by saying it's science. I read a lot of science. It's not like I'm not standing here saying, oh, you should go to your neighborhood psychic and pay $70 for candles to take away a curse.
Right, it's science.
About it's science. Science. Every scientist I read, especially the quantum physicists, talk about this stuff, and they talk about the nature of reality, that our brains are not equipped to see everything all at once. It would be too much of an overload. So what we see as reality is often like really truncated.
And if you measure that against the spirit and the concept of the soul,
right,
and the spirit, it'd be interesting to try to find what the common links are with that, because maybe they're all one.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know. All that stuff is incredibly interesting to me, and it actually all came out of the coma, which is really interesting to me too.
Interesting,
because before the coma, I was really afraid of dying, and I was really afraid of everything. And after the coma, I sort of felt like, well, there's all this possibility out there. There's all these amazing things that I want to know and find out and see if I can get to other, like what's going on beside us. I mean, who knows?
Keep talking, keep writing. I'm going to read your book.
Thank you, Claire.
I love you already.
Thank you. Well, if you do,
every time.
If you do go to that other dimension, then please let me know so I can go there too.
Send me your address, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I was little, I talked about my grandmother living in a white house with blue shutters down in a little valley. I mean, I could see it, the trees, it was real to me. Like it was like, and I would tell my friends about it. Well, my friend's mother was friends with my mother, and Pat asked her once about my Baba's house because she knew the house Baba lived in, so she wanted to know about the other house. And my mother was like, what? And then so Pat was telling her all about it and about the dog that she had and the creek that ran behind it and the garden that she had and how we canned on the back porch. And my mother was like, what? And then she was like, and this is what she said, that's just Mandy. That's just Mandy and her imagination. But I am telling you, I was in that house with
I
my
believe it.
grandmother. I was.
I believe
I don't
it.
care what anybody says.
I believe it. I
do too,
definitely
you know.
believe it. I think those things happen. It drives it, you know, sometimes when I have the imaginary town dreams, whether they're imaginary or not, it drives me crazy when I wake up because I know it's real.
Yeah, and this
it
wasn't
doesn't-
like one time I was there. It was like I was 7, I guess. So for 7 years, I was in that house with my grandmother, and I was at the other house with her. But I was in that house with my grandmother.
It's amazing. It's sort of like, I think everything that we think that we've ordered, like time, that things sort of happen in order and we can't know the future and we can't know this and we can't know that. I think that we can. I just don't know how, because I don't understand the science yet, but I'm trying, I'm trying to
Well-
find out because it's fascinating. I
It
mean,
is.
yeah,
It's fascinating. Wow.
You know,
That's-
can I just say something?
yes, please.
So, you know, I just think about, well, there's a wonderful book by Rupert Sheldrake called Science Set Free, because part of the problem is that science has created its own limitations on how
Yes,
we measure things.
yes.
And so how do you measure, let's say, psychic phenomena or intuition or whatever, when science hasn't yet caught up with how to measure it? You know, there's a book called Measuring the Immeasurable, you know, so
Wait,
science
I'm writing this down, measuring the immeasurable.
We're all
measurable
learning.
and science
Science
that's
that's
free.
free.
Yeah, and look up also the Institute for Noetic Sciences, which
Okay.
is amazing because
Yes,
it
it
was
is.
started by Edgar Mitchell, you know, like 45 years ago. He was an astronaut and he had a epiphanic experience, and he said, oh my God, I got to come back and I have to create this institution where I can bridge science with the inexplicable and the esoteric. But if you look at the indigenous tribes, they don't have this, you know, hang up about what they believe or
Right.
what they don't believe. And there was a wonderful book years ago. I probably read it 2 or 3 times, and it was called The Kin of Ata. And it was based on truth. It was fiction, but it was based on truth of some of these indigenous tribes, like in Peru, and, you know, that are ancient tribes that go back beyond the Mayans and Incas and everything. And in this book, so they all go to sleep and they dream. But when they dream, that's what's real. So let's say they put an intention out there, we need to go find, you know, a buffalo so we can
I
eat
love
something,
that.
right? And so they go to sleep at night and they have a group intention, and where are we going to find the buffalo, right? So they go to sleep, they dream the reality of where they're going to find the buffalo, how they're going to hunt it. And then in the morning when they wake up, the whole tribe meets and they share what was really real was the dream. And what we think is real is the
What is that
dream.
book again? You need to send me that list.
I know, it's incredible. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
And we have put these limitations on our reality, and yeah, partially maybe because it's too much, and then you think, then I'm just going to throw this out there, what happens with people with mental illness or Alzheimer's,
Right,
and you
right.
go like watching my mom go through dementia, like it was like she had her feet in two worlds at the same time.
Yeah.
And I can't really say that the other world that she had her foot in, why was that not as real as the one that
Right.
I'm living in?
Right, right. I think it is. I think it is as real. I think it just sort of, there's just so much we don't know yet.
Or we don't
This is
want to
so
know.
good.
Like, I
Oh, we don't
guess,
know. Well, a lot of people don't want to know. A lot of people don't want to know. It depends like what kind of a life you want. I mean, if you're a day trader and you're working on Wall Street 30 hours a day and your focus is money, you're probably not going to be thinking about parallel worlds unless you're thinking about them in terms of, well, do they have more money? But it's true though.
You're so right. You are so
It
right.
is true. So you sort of have to have an open mind to it. But all the quantum physics stuff that I read now is all about how the reality we see isn't really the whole picture. It's like the movie The Matrix, where
Yes.
people thought they were in a world, but they weren't. They were being used for something else. And I mean, who knows?
It's so weird. One time, my friend Pulpwood Queen Margie Dilday and I were driving a short distance from my town to Palestine, Texas, to join up with more Pulpwood Queens because we'd been on a trip to Europe. And the photographer who took all these pictures was bringing them. And it was an hour and a half trip. And we're talking and we're driving. And I go, we should have been there by now. She goes, it's so weird. She goes, wonder why? And she goes, man, it's like it was getting late. So I said, I'm going to stop. And it was a straight drive. And we stopped at this place and she goes, Palestine? She goes, that's 2 hours back. And we looked at each other and we go, It took us like 6 hours to get an hour and a half. And we still, to this day, we were driving back. I go, did we pass this? She goes, no, we did not. I felt like time kind of folded over.
It probably did.
And to this day, I know everybody thinks we're crazy when we tell this story, but she was with me and we did not, there's a huge, big block sign when you come into Palestine that says Palestine. You can't miss it. We never saw it.
That's incredible. That's
It was
incredible.
weird. It was really
I-
weird.
Yeah, I have to tell this story.
Okay. please.
Carolyn, this is so much
Storytelling
fun.
time.
I feel like we're sitting around at having wine and just chatting about all these strange things.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Coffee.
it.
25 years ago, we were shopping for a house. We were ready to get a bigger house and all. And then we couldn't find what we wanted. We gave up looking and we went on a vacation. And I had a dream while we were away on this vacation. And I found the house that I wanted. And I went in the house and it had a winding staircase and it had stained glass windows. And then I went into a bedroom that the people that were selling it were fixing it up. And there were just all these details about it. And then I woke up and, I was on vacation. So, but in the dream, when I went downstairs into the kitchen, I knew the woman that was in the kitchen. And it was a woman that I was working with a dance school at the time, and I knew her. So when I saw her a few weeks later, I asked her if I could tell her about her, that I had a dream about her and about her house. And I started to describe the house and all of the things she was fixing up. And she said, you have to come over to see my house. And when I did, It was exactly the house that I had dreamt about. But when we got there and I went up the stairs, there were windows that were being repaired. And I said, oh, this is different because the windows were cracked and all. She said, we just fixed them. Then we went into another room. Similarly, the work that was being done in my dream. She said, oh, that was happening in August, which was when I had the dream. I was in her house. It was very strange.
Oh my gosh, I've just got goosebumps.
I know.
That's
It's
wild.
like, yeah, I mean, I think that's reality. I think that's more reality
It was very
in our
strange.
day to day. And
I
we're
Now,
just
wait
not
a
aware
minute.
of it.
Did you buy the house?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
it for
Did you
sale?
buy it?
No, it wasn't for sale. It was her house. She lived in
Oh,
it.
it was her house. Oh, what happened to the house? Did you stay friends with her? Or?
Yeah, well, yeah, she was just a person that I knew, that she wasn't selling her house, but it was a house that I would have liked to have purchased. It was like,
Wow. That's a book. That's a good plot.
well,
That
I
is
wrote
a
a short
great
story of it, but I have to work on it and see what else I could do with it. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
incredible. Yeah, you often wonder like why things
like-
happen and you don't, like, is it a warning? What are you supposed to do about it? I mean,
Yeah.
I've had things where I knew that this person really close to me was going to die young, and I sort of knew how, and I just sort of tucked it in the back of my mind because I thought it's probably like just my fears of the future. And then it happened that way exactly. And my thinking about it was, okay, so I knew about it, but why did I know about it?
yeah.
Is there something you're supposed to do about it? Or is it just to show you that the world is so strange? Or what good does it know to know about it? I remember I dreamed of the week before the Challenger exploded. I wasn't even thinking of the Challenger. I was like, I don't think I was even watching the news then. I was busy being wild. And I remember I had this dream where, I saw the explosion, looked exactly the way it looked. And then a week later, I was passing the news and I saw it. And I thought, I saw that in my dream. And I told people, and people either said, oh, yeah, sure. Or else they said, well, lots of people get premonitions, but I kept thinking, well, why? Is it
Why me?
because I think one of the things Jodi Picoult said was that you need to think of all of life as like a piece of fabric, and you're just like one little pull of it. And if it gets pulled in a different way, then you're in a different reality, but it's still the same cloth. It's just sort of a different piece of it.
I don't know.
All
I believe
real.
we're all connected
We're all
in
connected,
so many ways. And I mean, just look at this evening.
I know, this is
Get
so
onto this
wild.
kind of topic.
I never thought we were going to talk
That's what's
about
going to
this.
happen, Carolyn. I mean, I didn't.
I didn't either. It just
You
sort
know
of,
what I think happens when we come together like this? This is not an interview in the sense of I come up with questions, I give them to you, you answer them. This is a conversation.
right.
And when you
We
have
have
a
to change the name.
conversation with people, we find sharing our stories brings us closer together.
Yes.
And I feel really close to this group.
Yep, me too.
Because,
Me too. That's exactly
Carolyn,
what it
you
is.
got-
Telling your stories. That's why you can't ever you really like, if you feel you're shy, get bold and tell a story and see what happens. It's an amazing experience.
That's amazing. I just think it's fascinating. And I like to follow you and your husband and your son and all the family life that you've got going, because your family life is your writing life too. I mean, it's just
It's
kind
all
of
together.
intermingled, where a lot of people said, keep your personal life separate from your work, but I don't see any difference.
So it's like time. It's all
That
happening
way.
at the same time.
How many of you separate your writing life with your real life? And how many of you, I mean, my life is an open book. If you follow me
Yeah,
at
mine
all,
too.
you know everything I'm doing every minute of the day. So,
Yeah.
and I love your posts. I just love your posts. But does everybody feel that way, or do you keep your lives separate? Speak up. No,
all the
I'm an
same.
open book.
Oh, good.
Open book, open
Good.
book.
Good
raise your
thing
hand
I-
if you're an open book. Okay, raise your hand. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
some of you are.
Claire, you're not an open book?
No, not really. I think I'm definitely living a dual reality. But having said that, I can't even articulate how grateful I am for the Pulpwood Queens, for my writing life. That is who I am. That is how I apply myself. I just
Okay.
happen to, do you know what I'm saying? I just don't get on social media and share
Yeah,
who's
social
around me.
media is different than.
Yeah, who's around me and that kind of stuff, because I don't want to, expose.
Okay.
But you share your dogs all the time.
You better
I love
believe I
dogs.
share my German Shepherds, and we're gonna have puppies. Did I
And
tell
the
you that?
ocean, you share the ocean in Malibu, you share
Yeah.
your dogs, you're sharing your life. But you know
Yeah.
what? I have a feeling everybody's
Everybody's
Sorry. Everybody's so afraid that they're going to say something on social media and it's going to turn around. And I have the opposite effect of it. I feel like, I'm just trying to share the story so others will share their stories. We don't have to tell secret,
Oh, right, right.
I think we're sharing each other's lives. And that's why Facebook became so important to me, because that's the only way I can see my family, and see the pictures and
Right.
FaceTime and stuff. People forget the amazing service that is brought to us, that all of us, from no matter where we are in the world, can come together and have a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And learn about Carolyn's fabulous book. And I have not read your first ones. I want to go back and read them. Are they all in print?
They're all in print. Some of them, the backlist,
I can't
is in
wait.
ebooks. You can get them in ebooks up until like the 6th book. And then I think from 6 books on, they're in paper too, but they're all in ebooks.
Which book are you most proud of?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That's like asking me which one of my children I like the best. I mean, I don't know. They're all different in different ways, and they've all given me different things and been really difficult in different ways. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, they're all like they feel really real. I mean, I think my characters are out there in the world somewhere. Haven't met them yet, but I know them and I know they are.
Well,
Now, this book has been out for a while. So are you working on another one?
I sold another one. In fact, I just it's called Days of Wonder, and
It's called Days of Wonder.
Days of Wonder, and it's with my editor right now. So I mean, I've sold it already, and I just had to write it after I sold it, which sometimes it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. Sometimes you get to sell a book just on the basis of the first 60 pages of an outline. And it's a good thing because then you think, yay, I sold a book. But it's a bad thing because then you think, oh shoot, now I have to write it. And who knows how that book is going to turn out. So I finished it, went through my agent, now it's with my editor, and it'll be like another 2 months before I find out if they are going to take it or not. I mean, you never know.
Well,
You never know.
Take it. Is this Algonquin? Is it
Yeah, so
Algonquin?
you never know. You never know. So while I'm waiting, I'm writing another book. Because as I said, I discovered when I'm not writing, I feel like I'm going crazy. I really do.
Do you
I
have a
to-
title for the newest one that you're working on?
Yeah, I can't. I'm superstitious, so I can't talk about either one yet. And plus, I don't really know. I don't have words yet to talk about what they are. It's like I just lived it, and now I have to think about it and what it really means.
Let it
You're
settle.
writers, you know.
We know. My cat is knocking at the door like a human. I'm going to let it in. I love that.
That's hilarious.
It'd be great if the cat wasn't there.
That is really, really funny. So
My cat has learned how to knock on the door like a human. It sounds like somebody's at the door. Sometimes it scares me because I leave the cat out and then it's late at night and I hear a knock at the door and I'm like, It's the cat. It's my crazy cat. She ran to the dish. She's gone. Okay. Well, Carolyn, is there something we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Nope.
How
I
can,
just
how
wanna,
can they get a hold of, how can we get a hold
I
of
was
you?
just going to tell everybody, I was just going to tell it, that was the one thing. It's like, I'm super easy to find. You can find me on, my email is my name at Gmail. I'm on Twitter all the time, and my Twitter handle is @Leavitt Novelist. And I'm on Facebook, all over the place. All you have to do is Google my name, and I turn up like a bad penny. I'm there all the time. I'm there all the time. It's like I have to take breaks during writing, so I'm always around, and I'd love to stay in touch. I loved this conversation with all of you. I just
Loved it. Absolutely. I mean, this was
it was
like greatest.
wonderful. I wish we
You're
could
gonna
meet
be
every
back
week and
with
have
Jenna.
coffee.
You're going to be
Coffee
back with
cake.
Jenna at our conference. And so we're looking forward to that. And then you're blogging all this week on the Pulpwood Queen Presents, so we're my pick. So go on there. She shared a video with us, and you got lots of things to share with us that are going to be very cool. And how
Oh yeah,
do
I
you,
do. I have a lot of fun things.
How
Also,
do
I
you-
sent you 25 signed book plates, so give them up.
So listen, Mandy, if you go to, I have a bookshop org, which benefits all independent bookstores. I have now, it's going to be in our new newsletter, the link. If you click on it and order any of the Pulpwood Queen picks, hopefully everybody will get me their book plates. I'm going to send you a signed book plate. So
And I made the book plates. I painted them myself.
Oh, wow.
oh, cool.
Did I get one?
Wow.
I'm going to take photos tomorrow morning of the book plates that are coming in. Some people have gotten really creative. I was trying to find Allison's that I had right here because I pulled one out because it's so beautiful. I'm going to frame it. It's a postcard of her, and on the back of it, it's got her autograph, and then it's got the name of her book written in her language. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I
Wow,
will
that's
share you this one I
lovely.
just got just a few minutes ago. This is Michelle Cox's ones that she sent me, and I just love them.
Oh, that's beautiful. That
They're
is
coming in
beautiful.
like little works of art. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
they're little works,
So-
yeah.
And then the last thing I want to share is our new postcard, which has all the information about Girlfriend
I
Weekend.
love that. I love
So,
that.
Before we go, she's on the
I want to say
blog.
one more thing since you mentioned the bookshop.
Yeah.
So, y'all, I've worked to set it up so all like the official picks have their own little window in the store, and then books that are just our authors but haven't been picked yet or haven't, have
there
their
too.
own, so it's easy. It pops up with Pulpwood Queen authors books are all there. So we're going to be like hand selling all our authors books virtually. And
So, and we're really going to be sending home the idea of that. If you buy a book, tell me about it. I'll drop a signed book plate in the mail to you. Be sure to include your address. That's important. I've been hunting down a lot of authors, and it's amazing to me how many of them I didn't have their emails. If you send out books for consideration, print your contact information, especially the email. Email is very important. Everybody goes, well, just go to their website. Believe it or not, a lot of authors don't have their email address on their website. Ours are
Oh, that's
everywhere.
not good. That's
Oh,
not
not good. But we're excited that you're going to be there tomorrow. And the last thing I want to share before we all leave tonight from this wonderful world of Caroline Leavitt is that
I know, I love this. I love this.
when her book came out and I read it, I got so excited. I did this video. It's up on the Kathy L. Murphy channel, and I'm a
Oh,
rock star. Did you see it? I'm just insane. My hair is the color of yours. And I did this whole thing with a leather jacket and an electric guitar. You got to watch it. It's the most embarrassing. I watched it later and I said,
oh my God, wait, this is on your channel, on your
it's
YouTube
on my
channel?
channel. And I think I have
Should I
lost
share
my-
screen?
Huh?
Should I share screen and show
Oh,
it?
yeah. Do that.
I
Yeah,
wanna
let's
see
see
it.
it. Let's watch it.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
Oh, no. This is great. This is great.
Oh, you guys are, I'm going to die of embarrassment. This is great.
No, you won't. It's
I do
fabulous.
these things because I'm here at home and I play dress up and I think I'm going to do this for Carolyn's book. And then my kids
love
go,
this.
Mom, no, you are too old to be a rock star. Okay.
No, that's not true. You're never too old to be a rock star.
It's you know which one it is, Mandy? I mean, we have 200
Yes.
videos up now.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
Okay, keep talking, everybody. Anything more? Where are you going to be? Anything coming up that you're going to be speaking at, or besides the Pulpwood Queen International Book Club Convention?
I have like a lot of like little events here and there with bookstores, and I have one for the Authors Guild or the Writers Guild in LA in a couple of weeks. They just sort of come.
Who are you got coming up with your interviews on A Mighty Blaze? Because the last one, who was it? What was the last one you did?
Patty Davis.
Yes, Patty
Patty
Davis.
Davis was talking about, oh, here it is. Oh,
Oh,
great. I can't wait to see this.
Can you play it? We've never done this. Oh my God, insane. We don't have audio.
I'm
Weird.
taking a screenshot of this right now.
We have matching hair. Oh my gosh. Well, you're gonna have to go straight to the channel because we're not getting the audio of it. But it's pretty wild.
Oh my God.
Seen it, Carolyn? Oh my God. I did this in my kitchen.
It's wonderful. It's completely wonderful. Oh my God. I'm putting the link up everywhere.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, let's make it go viral, everybody, and then I'll be really embarrassed. So
That is hilarious. That is just wonderful.
Look at my gloves. They're just like yours.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. They are.
Oh my God.
So y'all can't hear it?
I can't hear it at all.
Well, it's fantastic because
That's all
you're
right. We'll
describing the
go
book.
and we'll hear it afterwards.
You'll hear it. And anyway, you can take it off now. I think they've seen enough. But thank
Are you
you.
sure? Wait,
I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh, look at you. Oh.
Yeah, don't you love that black mask eyeshadow?
Fabulous. I like the lipstick a whole lot, and gloves,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, it's to die for.
I always have black lipstick. That's just something in my repertoire, right, Ruthie? We have to keep all the accoutrements, don't we?
Oh yeah. Oh
gosh.
yeah. Thank
Well,
you so much for showing that. That was fabulous. I love
you're
you all.
welcome.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you.
Kat, thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everybody. This is just, you're now all my best friends.
Yes.
So keep in
Yay.
touch.
Let's give a big applause. All right. Thank you. Okay, Carolyn, we can't wait to see what you have to say tomorrow on our blog, and join in on the Pulpwood Queen Presents her
Oh
picks
yeah.
on Facebook. And so you can reach her on her Facebook channel, on Twitter. I love your tweets. I always say,
I love Twitter.
Follow. You are so much fun to follow.
you are. You're a lot of fun.
you.
And I love every opportunity we have to get together. And now you don't have to worry about missing a limo ride or anything. You can just get on virtually and come to our week and get with Jenna, because I need to get her photos and all that stuff too.
I emailed her. She's
busy.
she's in the midst of her book publicity. She said she is going to write you right away.
Okay. All right.
Just keep
Okay.
pinging her.
All
Thank
right.
you all.
We love
Thank you, Carolyn. Nice to meet you.
So wonderful to meet all of you. Stay in touch. Kathy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks to y'all for coming.